Everybody's joining after it's recorded. Takes a few minutes to get anybody in here. I'm about to go ahead and say hey for anybody that's joining after it's been recorded. Let me wrap my hands up first. I'm doing that instead of wearing my gloves lately. I think I prefer it to the gloves. And I'm on a new way of wrapping my hand. Get the workout going here shortly. I usually do this early in the morning. I've had something to do this morning, so a little bit different today. Doing it now here in the afternoon time or evening, because it's like 6:30 in the evening. So, but yeah, I usually do this closer to about 10 a.m. my time. That works for me on that hand. Still not exactly right, but better than before. I'm working on a new way of wrapping my hands that new for me, different than how I was doing it before. I think it's a little bit better for me, especially with what I'm doing on this bag. I like a little bit more of my fingers for this bag because I'm using wrap and no gloves, just to make sure I don't scrape any of the skin. So otherwise on a bag like this, I wouldn't need wrap at all. Just to keep from scraping the skin, but then also so when you get sweaty, you don't feel like you're just slipping off like it's oiled up or something, because it almost feels like that if you're just bare-fisted on it and you're all sweaty. You just have to bear with me here. We get wrapped up and then I'll get started on the workout. Have more trouble controlling it with this hand, with the wrap. I know it's not exactly right the way I'm wrapping, but I'm doing it for a reason. How y'all doing? I see some of y'all joined in. I'm about to start working out on the bag. The main reason I'm really wrapping up on this bag, it's like I said a second ago, it's kind of just to protect the skin from scraping. And then also to keep it from being so slippery once it gets sweaty when I'm hitting the bag. It just kind of feels like it slips off if I don't have something on my hands. Otherwise, I would just go barehanded on this. All right, wrapped up, a little sloppily, but it's wrapped up, so I can get my workout started. Y'all doing all right? How y'all doing? You doing all right, folks? All right. Let me get warmed up a little bit, and then we'll start the workout. Typically, what I do on this channel is I have follow along in the video section. There's follow along workouts. There's like fitness, kickboxing, follow along at home workouts. So my background's in Taekwondo originally, so that's my main background, and I've been trying to improve on all the areas that I like as much as I can. I'm trying to improve my hands, my head movement, that kind of stuff. And then just overall fitness. Overall fitness is a big factor. It's a big thing of pushing this channel. That and martial arts. I love martial arts. I love training. I love to kick and punch. Knees and elbows, all that stuff. Just trying to get warmed up right now. I'm gonna do some leg swings, loosen up my hamstrings, push this bag over a little bit so it's not right there in the center. Just gonna do some leg swings here. But yeah, I encourage you guys to do some of the follow along workouts at some point. If you'd like to get some good exercise. I got those follow alongs in the video section of my channel. Trying to help people get in shape here while having fun and doing martial arts. But on these lives, I basically just talk to the camera and hit the bag for the most part. And I'll come up and respond to your chats a lot of times too. All right, I'm still kind of warming up, but I'm gonna hit the bag a little bit. Move this back some. And I kind of just go on these a lot of times. I don't always think about what I'm doing. I just start going. Oh, and I usually like to go to my fitness watch and try to have it record to give me an idea what kind of calories I may have burned. Here pretty soon, I'm gonna have a live where I put my workouts that I've already recorded, like the pre-recorded ones, on a TV I have on that wall there. And I'm gonna have this watch on, recording the workout. I'm gonna do one of my pre-recorded workouts and try to see what the calorie burn is on it so I can get back to you guys on that. Give you an idea how much you could burn doing the workouts in my video section. You know, everybody throws switch kicks, right? You always see people doing switch kicks, right? You switch the feet first, to kick with that front leg, and they're great. But you should also sometimes practice just pick up and kick. Just pick up and kick. Telegraphs less, and you're probably more likely to land a little quicker. Doesn't have the same power as a switch kick, but you can get enough power on there, right? Use the other leg now. Well, if you guys are new, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to build this channel up. Let's fix this. Need to throw a few with my right leg. I'll come check the chat in a second. But for now, I want to keep going because I want to get my cardio going. You know, hook punches, you'll see two different kinds of hooks where you have thumb up and thumb down, right? Thumb up, thumb to the side, and sometimes even all the way upside down. So you have thumb up, coming across, right? Make sure you twist your whole body in it regardless of which kind you're using. This needs to all come forward. That needs to all come forward. Your shoulders need to try to come through. Right, so thumb up, and then thumb down. Now, sometimes when it's all the way upside down, because you're throwing it so far away, you end up turning it kind of upside down because you're trying to make sure you hit with the first two knuckles because you don't want to get a boxer's fracture. You hit with the pinky, you're likely to get a boxer's fracture. I personally feel more comfortable doing the thumb up one most of the time, but if you're far away, that thumb up one, if you try to do it, it's gonna be hard to hit with these knuckles. You can hit with these down here, for me anyway. You know, or I'm going to be bending the wrist too much. So from far away, the down is almost better. But you know, I told you guys that my background was Taekwondo. They didn't teach us hook punches in the Taekwondo I did. They had us doing ridge hands instead, like that. So for me, it almost feels more natural to hit with the palm instead of throwing a regular hook. It may feel like a palm strike, but to the side, like a slap in a way, but with the palm. Like in power slap, they would call it clubbing. You know, illegal move in power slap. But for me, I almost think it might work better for me. But I don't know. I like the knuckle punch too, though. But when my knuckle can be up, when it's far enough away, it has to be down. I think I might feel better trying the open hand, or even maybe turn it this way and hitting with a forearm like a clothesline. That actually might be good for me. I feel like you can really see that coming though, see? Because I'll stick my hand out first. So if that was going to be something for me to use, I think I would definitely need to practice some more. I've dropped my microphone, folks. Hold on a second. Sorry about that, guys. This microphone, the clip fell off. I guess I didn't have it clipped on very good. I wonder how long the sound's been messed up. Hopefully not very long. I hope you guys can still hear me all right. Hey, howdy, folks. Hit subscribe for me if you're new, okay? Trying to get a good workout in and get to practice martial arts at the same time. If you're using a Wave Master, well, any bag really, if you're throwing the elbow, if you can avoid scraping, you can avoid bag burns. They got a little bit of scrape on me from scraping the bag, but also on the Wave Master, there's a spot on it where there's a seam. If you hit your elbow there, you're more likely to scrape at the skin, I've noticed. So if you find the smooth part, when you throw the elbow, it's a little bit better. How many of you guys have a bag at home? Anybody got a bag at home that you guys practice on? Do you have a hanging bag or do you have one like this, freestanding? They both have the benefits. The big heavy hanging bag, when you kick it, it's harder than this. You can condition your shins. This one's softer, you know, but it's easier to move around. You can put it wherever you want it. Check the chat real quick. All right, everybody. I'm gonna keep rolling with it, all right? Get some exercise in today. Well, I said I liked using the forearm, but now that I'm throwing it, now I like the hook punch, but I like the knuckle up. I like the thumb up one. It feels better to me. I think maybe for me, when they're too far out for me to do the thumb up one, you might still could. I think if they're too far out for me to do a thumb up, maybe I'm just not gonna throw a hook. Or maybe from there, I would do my reach and try to power slap, you know, clubbing with the palm, right? Or let's try the upside down, hitting with the top of the knuckle. See, for me, I think it's just because I'm not super used to throwing those like that. For me, I don't feel like I have enough support when I do that. Or even like that. With my thumb up, I have the support. But that's why I think for me, for the ones that reach out better, maybe for me, from long range, instead of throwing a real hook punch, open my hand up to a palm strike. Like what I said in power slap, they would call it clubbing. It's illegal in power slap to hit just with your palm. I don't know if any of you guys watch that or not. I've only seen clips from it, but I've heard about it. One of my buddies on his channel did an interview with a couple of their champions, so I learned a little bit about it this week. Or last week, I guess I should say. Sprawls. There's that seam. If I throw elbows, I don't want it to land on the seam. That's when it'll actually scrape your skin on the elbow. This is a fun one to me because, for one, it even just sounds good to do. Because I'm going in, elbow on the way back, hitting him with a back fist on the way back. It's the fun part to me, even though you would think it probably wouldn't land because they'll probably have the guard up. But at the same time, a lot of times when you're just in there, you can sneak in a little bit extra volume. Gives you an extra chance to land something. And that's why I like to throw in the extra. I mean, it's got to come back anyway. Why not stick my hand out and try to graze him with something on the way? I like this one. Round step and jab. They're coming out at you with their punch. You move out of the way and jab them. Give them a pop. Maybe a side kick. Round kick. Loosen up. pull this away. I want to mention something about hand positioning when you're punching. All right. Normally, with hand positioning, what you hear is it comes out, and at the very last second, twist over, land with the first two knuckles. I always recommend landing the first two knuckles. And then you have Wing Chun people who they like to hit with the bottom three all at once, which I think is a little risky, but risking a boxer's fracture. But I think their philosophy is they only throw that to soft targets, not to bones. To head strikes, I think Wing Chun people throw palms. I think their fist strikes, I think are only to soft targets like in the body. And however, also the Wing Chun people have vertical, and normally you have punches like this instead from most of them when you're taught. And the main thing what I would say about your hand positioning is I would always recommend landing with the first two knuckles, and whether or not your hand feels safer, stronger, more stable punching this way or this way, do the way where it feels strongest, where it's not buckling, and you're more likely to land with the correct two knuckles. So if you're throwing the punch where you twist your hand over and go, but you're hitting with the pinky finger, with the pinky knuckle, but if you throw a vertical punch, you hit exactly where you're supposed to on the top two knuckles, then throw a vertical punch. Even though some people will say that's wrong, and you throw this one, throw the one that's safe, right? You might not feel safe throwing this one at the moment. If that's the case, it's okay to throw the other one. Or the other way around too. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough support behind your hand throwing it one way or the other, but throwing it the other way, you feel like you have the support. Throw it the way that feels the most stable when you have support. Like, because used to hit full power in a big heavy hanging bag, I used to have to do vertical punch. And then eventually I got to where I can do it the other way as well. But I remember at one time, I needed the vertical punch because I wasn't landing with the right knuckles and my wrist wasn't completely stable. So I had to kind of build up to that. So sometimes on my jab, it still feels better if I throw vertical instead of twisting over. So play with it and see what works for you. You might like vertical. You might like horizontal. Also, keep in mind, especially if you're using a big, heavy hanging bag, when it's on its way back to you, you might want to think twice before you unleash a hard punch. Because think about the fact that a lot of weight's coming towards you. Make sure you don't do it in a way where you're going to hurt your hand. You know, so just keep that in mind. If it's swinging at you, you might not want to smash it while it's coming towards you. You might hurt yourself. Of course, it may depend how good are your hands wrapped up. How big are your boxing gloves? What are you training in? What's your gear? What kind of bag are you hitting? How heavy is the bag you're hitting? And I try to make sure I get my hands back up to here. You know, sometimes I'm throwing these strikes, then I have to re-raise them because I'm trying to teach myself hands need to be where they need to be, you know? Because I had to retrain myself. When I started recording myself a year or so ago, I realized that I was throwing my hands down like this a lot, and so I try to retrain myself to get them up. But sometimes when I'm just going, they still end up down here, and I gotta whoop, lift. However, keeping that in mind, if somebody's striking at you, I don't actually recommend doing this, especially with a closed fist, you know. But regardless, I don't recommend touching your head with your hands, because if you're going to protect yourself from my kick by touching your head with your hands and thinking that's going to stop you, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop me. You know, you can get, if you're touching your head and they hit your hand, that energy is still going through. You're getting hit. You got to come out a little bit, right? So you don't really want to be like this if somebody's throwing a really hard strike at you, because it's just, you're still going to absorb a lot of that energy. So I think it's a little bit better to have your hands, move your hands out some. You know, you may have to move them around. Don't take a full impact strike with your hands like this. Now, maybe if you're wearing big, heavy boxing gloves, it might slow it down some. But if not, I don't recommend doing that, especially if you have your knuckles to your head. Some people do it and they put their knuckles to their head. Well, now you're just pressing your own knuckles into your head if somebody kicks you there. So, you know, I actually do like some of the blocks I learned in the old school Taekwondo, and not like the traditional blocks on the patterns, but more of like the blocks they had us practice for sparring. You know, where we did kind of block, you know. So like little tiny blocks, like for straight punches, just do little small blocks. You know, just barely knock their hand out of the way so they just barely miss you. But coming out to the side, I actually do like to do a real block, you know, because I don't want the impact going into my head even through my own hand. So I do like to reach out some and do a little bit of a block, you know, and for the straight punches, just a small block in. So anyway, just thought I would share that with you guys. Ha! Ha! Sa! 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 What time is it? 7. I've been going, only about 20 minutes. I think I was dropping my hands down more then than I was supposed to. You know, like what I told you guys, sometimes I still have to work to pull them back up because I start going and I realize they're down here again. And I got to bring them up. Well, at least here's supposedly okay. Of course, I really like to have them high when I'm thinking about it, because I'd rather have them too high than too low and be wide open. So when I'm thinking about it, I try to have them up here to where if I was to touch, my tips of my fingers would touch right above my eyebrows. That's how I like to let myself know my hands are up, is I'll touch and I know, okay, I got them there where I feel like they're supposed to be. They're up high. You know, I like them up high too because it covers the temples and everything too. You know, just down here covering just the chin, I'd rather have it up here. Something else I work on sometimes, I will sometimes have a tendency to reach for that backhand. And instead of reaching, you really want to step up, right? See the back foot? Instead of staying put and me reaching, trying to reach out to him, that back foot should slide up a little bit. So it should be boom, boom, right? It should come up a little bit. So I shouldn't be boom, boom, stretched out. I should be boom, 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 boom. Not boom, boom, but boom, boom. See what I'm saying? The back foot's supposed to slide up with you. But I understand why people, and sometimes me, end up reaching. And you're doing it because you're thinking you can get farther back after striking and not get hit. So, but you're also on a wider stance here. If you're reaching, you're on a wider stance and you can't move around as quickly as if your stance was still more narrow. Now I can easily cut angles still. But when you're wide, you might can still cut angles. I feel like I can. But I think everybody knows when you're on a balanced, steady base, you can move better than when you're on a wide base trying to move. You know, obviously you can move better when you're on a more stable, balanced base. Another thing I hear people say that you should work on, I'm bad about this, is being flat-footed. I'm bad about this. A lot of times I'll just sit flat on the ground. But being on the balls of your feet makes you more springy. So there's actually a girl that teaches fitness kickboxing and does Muay Thai at a gym I go to for their fitness kickboxing. And I noticed last time I saw her, she had changed to where she was always way up on the balls of her feet. So I know that's what they had her working on, was getting on the balls of the feet, because she just stayed on the whole time, no matter what she was doing. Up on the balls of the foot, throwing a kick, stayed on the ball of the foot the whole way up, and never came off of it. Think about it, it's kind of good for your calf muscles too. See, I'm gonna come off of it. I'm gonna end up with my foot down, you know, but it is what it is. Every now and then I'll think about it and try to work on it a little bit to do it at least a little bit more. For me, I may still shift more of my weight to the balls of my feet, but I'm not typically up on them, you know. So I haven't checked chat in a minute. How you doing? Let's footwork and movement while punching. Hey everybody, hit subscribe for me too if you don't mind. I am trying to grow this channel. All right. Well, one of the things that I do like for footwork and punches and stuff, or even kicks, you can do it off of punches or kicks, is as soon as he starts to move to come in and throw strikes at me, I like to round step and throw a jab out, because I feel like I get away from him. Or sometimes even jab, cross, and then at the end, jab, cross, step over, because he may be coming forward at that point trying to counter. I like to get out of the way and hit him from an angle, you know? For your head work, you get your slips, right? Slip, 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 roll. And I guess you can throw punches while you're slipping too, right? See, slip, 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 slip. Don't just stand there and do it in a pattern, right? Because you know what you're gonna do, you're gonna get whacked. But just showing that you can slip and throw at the same time, which I like to do sometimes. Try to keep from getting hit while you're throwing your punches, especially if they're throwing at the same time. But also though, if you're just moving, if all you're doing is moving and you haven't seen what they're doing yet, it might not matter. So I don't know. But don't ask me, I'm not a boxing coach, right? I say what I can, but I'm not a boxing coach. So, matter of fact, it's crossing my mind. I think it'd be good for me if I decided to take 90 days of boxing. I think it would drastically improve my hands and my head movement if I just went and took 90 days worth. So I'm considering doing that. They do have it at the place that I go. They have everything there. They have MMA there also, but I'm not at the right age to try to start competing, so I'm not interested in, if anybody came and asked me, I might say, okay, I'll do one match. But that's all I would really do, because MMA guys retire when they start retiring when they get to my age. There's only a handful of my age still competing in the UFC. I'm Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's age, if y'all know who that is. Or Gabriel Varga, around his age, if you know who that is. I missed. Boom, there we go. If you don't look at your target when you spin, you're likely to miss. So when you spin, head around first, making sure I'm still in the camera. Whenever you do a spin strike, head around first and look at it. See, let me switch from this side. Head around first and look at it, right? And then from there is when your kick goes. That's why back in the day in the Taekwondo school, even though it's called a spinning side kick, sometimes to explain to you your movement, they would say, turn, look over your shoulder, side kick. Because that's what a spinning side kick is. You turn, you look, you side kick. I was a little close. So, because if you don't look, you're probably gonna miss. Like, I'm gonna look at you, and I'm gonna look the wrong way and try to side kick. Okay? I'm gonna look over there or something. All right, I still hit it, but usually if you don't look, you're probably gonna miss. It's only because I'm thinking about where it's at, probably is why I hit it. Probably, because I didn't look and I still hit it, but that's a rarity. Usually you have to be looking at it to hit it most of the time, or you'll overshoot it. Keep checking the time. Hey, no problem. Hit subscribe for me. Help me out. I'm trying to grow. And I feel like there's never a time to stop learning. You know, just because my first day of training happened to be about 30 years ago, doesn't mean that I can't keep learning. I need to keep learning. I actually had big gaps in training during that time, you know, and I need to train. You know, I need to improve on lots of stuff. And then there was some stuff they didn't know to teach yet back in the day when I did the majority of my learning, you know. So, because the majority of my learning, I guess what all happened within the first 12, 15, within the first 15 years. The majority of my training and practice happened within the first 15 years of that 30-year block, you know. Ha! 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 But I got stuff that I taught myself right here at home. I taught myself head movement and slips, you know. That's not something they taught in Taekwondo, at least not my old school Taekwondo, they didn't. You know, they didn't even teach us hook punches. Instead of hooks, they taught us ridge hands. Even though in sparring, some people did definitely throw hooks. You know, that's where the real hand fighting was in my old Taekwondo, was when you sparred. Because you had some people in there that were good with their hands and they would just come try to smash you. Then you had other people that were better with their kicks, and they would try to kick you and keep you away if you were the hand striker. I had a strategy against certain people in there. There was a guy in there that I knew was way better than me with his hands, but I could take him with my feet. So I would try my best to stick him with that side kick every time he tried to get close to me, and try not to let him in. Side kick and round kick. And then there was another guy that I was not a match for him at all with my feet, but I had a slight edge in my hand, so I would try to stuff him and get in, and then start going with the hands. So with most people, I was more of a kicker, but I did try to work on both. I noticed something when I looked over and saw myself in the camera. A minute ago, I threw a side kick that looked like this. Woo. You gotta try not to do that, because if you throw a side kick and then you let it fall, it's too easy to catch that kick on the way down. You know, if they haul it out and didn't get kicked and you're just dropping your kick, they can reach up and grab your foot. You're supposed to return a side kick the exact same way it went out. So it goes out and then straight back and then down. So, boom, because it makes it way harder to grab, way harder to catch. And most of the time, a lot of times anyway, just because of the way it's moving, even if they do manage to grab hold of it, you can usually still just pull it right out of their hands. Most of the time you can still get your foot back. One of the reasons why side kick's my favorite kick is because I feel like it's the hardest kick for somebody to catch, and also it has stopping power. You know, if they're trying to move in on you, it's like they're hitting a wall when you hit them with a side kick. They can't keep going in. The side kick is there. If you hit them with a round kick, they can still keep going in. They can kind of block it and keep coming forwards. You know, they can even, depending on how hard you hit them, right? They can even kind of eat it and keep coming forwards. With a side kick, that ain't happening. With a side kick, especially if you just make sure you extend all the way, even if they try to jam you, you can throw it out like you're pushing, right? So with a side kick, either they're moving backwards or you're moving backwards, or you're all going to stop. Because if he tries to jam you, if he tries to jam you with a side kick, but you still push out all the way, you can end up pushing yourself away. So you still stop him from getting inside your space with the side kick. Ha! 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 I want to try to develop some more speed on that, because the thing that makes that work is to, as quickly as you can, pick it up and fire it. So you can stop them before they get in on you. I'm working up a little bit of sweat today. It's not the best workout I've ever done on these lives, but I'm getting the workout. I'm talking too much is what it is. We're talking about head work earlier. Another head work thing sometimes is to just move your head back a little bit. Move just barely out of the reach, boom, and you're still in their reach. So they might go to throw something, you just go whoop, and boom. So I know this is just a game, but I'll play some VR boxing, Feel the Fight 2, and something I do to the opponents in there, I really over exaggerate it, and I'll go like this, because I know they don't know what I'm doing. And I go like this, and they come and try to hit me, and I just go like that, and then they're in my range. Like, I just lean up, right? They do that, and I go, whoo, and they miss me, and I'm pop, 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 or pop, pop, pop. So, but I don't recommend being that obvious with it if you have a real opponent, you know, because they can actually smack you, you know. So hopefully, if it's a sparring partner, hopefully they're not trying to hurt you, because that's not what sparring is about. Sparring is about getting better. You know, you're not getting better by trying to knock each other out. You know, so I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't think you got any better if you got knocked out. Maybe afterwards, watching the video, you can, because you can work on whatever mistake made you go down. You know, but you don't want to be hurting each other in sparring. In sparring, you want to pull your punches, you want to pull your kicks, you want to go light if you're sparring, you know? You don't want to go hard. And how hard you're going to go depends on you and your opponent. But regardless, you shouldn't be trying to knock each other out, or you shouldn't be trying to injure each other, you know? But sometimes when you're closely matching in the heat of it, you might really be going fast, but you're not trying to hurt them, right? Like, you may throw a fast kick like that, you know? You may throw your kick out kind of fast, but you're not trying to when you kick. You're not trying to smash. You're just trying to land when you're sparring, not smash, right? Especially if you get a head kick. If you're landing a head kick and you're sparring, you make sure that you pull that sucker, you know? Anyway, you shouldn't have to tell people these things, but sometimes you do. The scooting inside kick, too far away. I don't want to telegraph my stepping up, so I scoot, right? I used to be a lot better at that. Back in the days when I did Taekwondo 3 to 4 times a week, I was a lot better at that scooting kick, where they'd be too far away, I just whoop, scoot and go forward. Another one I used to be really good at back then is jump away side kick. Say they'd be, I'm getting set up for it, so I'm putting my back to it. So if somebody's rushing you, right, and maybe they're overwhelming you with punches or something, your escape move is a jump away side kick. You jump away from them and launch a side kick away from behind you, right? They're coming and striking at you, jump away, side kick. It's worked to get me away from it every single time I've ever used it. It's always worked for me. It doesn't always land, but it's always gotten me away from them, which is the goal of the jump away side kick, was getting away from them. I'm jumping away and throwing the kick. Sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always gotten me away from the person who was coming out. Maybe you could do it just by jumping, but not as likely because you don't have a weapon on the end of it to deter them from just charging, right? So the jump away side kick, I used to be a lot better at those. Maybe I'll do it here. I'll do it where I'm way too close to it, huh? Didn't feel quite right. But yeah, like I said, I used to be way better at those, but those are excellent. Seven, 18. All right. I practice these I practice these lead leg push kicks or cheap kicks, but it's not really something that I see myself using a lot. I'm more likely to use my back leg, but I still like to practice the front leg too. The back leg just feels better for me. So when I throw a lead leg, me personally, I'm more likely to throw the side kick or a round kick. That's just me. Nothing wrong with throwing a lead leg teep or push. Push kick, teep kick, whatever you want to call it. And two different ways to throw it too. This actually might be what really determines if it's a push kick or a teep kick. I'm not sure. But one way to throw it, the way you usually see Muay Thai people do it, and calling it a teep kick, is they kick with the ball of their foot, like so. The toes are pulled back, knee comes all the way up into the chest, goes out, toes are pulled back, hit with the ball of the foot. And then there's the other version where you're kicking with the heel of the foot. Everything's the same except for that. Knee comes in the chest, extends out, kick with the heel, right? So, and maybe that's the difference between push kick and teep kick. They may be the exact same kick, or maybe they're different. Maybe one of them's teep, one of them's push. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the comments knows. But I want to try each version real quick. So, that was the heel version. That was the teep version. They're both pretty powerful. The teep version, though, you have this much more reach because your foot is flexed forward. So, let's check here, see what's going on. All right, cool, folks. And I usually do this at a different time. I usually do these live workouts in the morning. It's the evening for me right now. It's 7:20 where I'm at, and I normally do it at 10 a.m. instead of 7 in the evening. But like I said earlier in the video, I had somewhere to be this morning, so I couldn't do it this morning. I got a little tense on those punches there. When you start to tense up with your punches, they'll go slower, might even be sloppier. We can try to relax the arms. Try to relax the arms. I think I'll do way better. Well, everybody doing all right tonight? Once again, hit subscribe for me if you're new to the channel. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get there. With your help, we can. With your help, we can. Whew. Just gonna jump around a little bit. I want to start cooling it down a little, actually. I'm about to take a shower. Be done for the night. Because I'm about to have somewhere to go again. So I gotta chill. So yeah, hit subscribe for me. Come back. Check out the live workouts like we've been doing. We do workouts usually in the morning instead of the evening like this. Come back and check out the follow along workout videos under the video section where you can get fit. You can get fit from the comfort of your own home. I got follow along workouts that I think are really good workouts. You can burn a lot of calories doing them. So burn a lot more calories than what I burned in here doing this while I was talking the whole time. So check out those follow along videos if you want to use martial arts to get in shape. Even if you don't have a bag. If you don't have a bag, you can still do the workout. Just do it in the air. I do recommend a bag, but use what you got, okay? So come work out with me, go to the video section, and do the follow along workouts. Do the workouts. It's gonna say fitness kickboxing. It may say fitness kickboxing at home. It may say drip in sweat. Some of them have different titles. And there's a bunch of different links you can pick from. You might only want to work out 10 minutes. We got that. The 10-minute quick fix videos that are on there. You might want to have a full hour long workout. We got that. We got 45-minute workouts, 30-minute workouts, and 40-minute workouts. They're sprinkled in, right? They're not all exactly the same amount of length, okay? So they're just however long they needed to be to get the job done. So you can burn a ton of calories. You can burn a ton of calories with me if you come and do the workouts on the video section. I hope you do. Hit the subscribe button. I will see you folks tomorrow. Thank you very much.